Praise the Lord. Are we on? I know we've had some technical difficulties. Um, if we are in the room, just please give me some sign that we are in the room. Um, I know we were scheduled for 8 o'clock. Just trying to see this. I know we were scheduled for 8 o'clock. Um, we had a little bit of technical difficulties. Just want to make sure that we are in the room and we are live. Praise the Lord. So far, I see 16 people in. Can you just wave, say hi, do something? Let me know that you were there. As I said, hey, Siobhan. Hey, Rick. Rick, I just heard some wonderful news. I guess once I get off this live, I'm going to have to make some phone calls. Um, I'm going to have to make some phone calls. Tonight is a very special night. For me at least, um, one of the things that bless you, brother Phil. One of the things that um, is important to me throughout this pandemic is that for you to know that your church is here. We're praying for you, and we're still working to minister to you, but we are not in the four walls. I believe that the ministry is still going strong. I'm enjoying all of the services on Sundays, and we're having service. We're doing Bible class on Tuesdays, prayer on Wednesdays, and tonight I wanted to jump on to do a special live. Um, I have a guest tonight, and he is I don't he is a dear brother to me. His name is Phil. Um, and for so many um, I guess months, I got his name wrong. I got his wife's name wrong. I used to come to the Bible class, and I would call him all kind of things. But I'm so glad he's always been gracious and always been kind. He is a member of the one church. He is a member of Pastor Tillman's church. But every now and again, him and his wife, they would come over and they would fellowship with us. And if it wasn't for the fact that I love Pastor Tillman dearly, I would have broke my rules. I would have tried to steal Brother Philip and his wife Yvette. I think I said that right. Did I get that right? I was calling her some of everything at first. But tonight, I want to really share with you. I want to share with you the scripture first because it's important to me. And as those of you that are in the room, please like, tag, share. Let's get these numbers up because tonight we have a testimony from a survivor. We entitled this live tonight COVID-19 from a survivor's perspective, and Brother Philip and his wife are survivors. Let me read Romans 10 and 17 as a way to guide our conversation tonight. The Bible says in Romans, the 10th chapter, and as I'm reading, share, tag, share, tag, share, tag. Let's get these numbers up because we need to hear good stories. We need to hear stories of survival. We need to hear not just what the media is feeding us and not what the media wants us to think. I still know and still believe that God is in control and that God is working out on the behalf of his people great deliverance. Paul says to the Roman church and to us by extension in the 10th chapter of the book of Romans in the 17th verse, he says, consequently, faith comes from hearing the message, and the message is heard through the word about Christ. Now, I read that to you because one of the things I want you to understand is we build our faith by hearing testimonies. The Bible says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And I have been saying all week that we want to build faith through information and testimony. So tonight, I got my brother here with me. I reached out to him earlier in the week, and he was kind and gracious enough to come and sit and to talk with us as a survivor. So, Brother Philip, I appreciate you and I thank you. I know you when I seen you last, I know you had a beard, but you seem a little bit more gray. Um,
Yeah.
seem a
Yeah.
little bit more gray.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see you, Gray. But I just want to tell you, you know, I've reached out to you a couple times. I've been praying for you and your wife. I
Yeah.
appreciate you because you are a dear brother. So I just want to know, tell the people how you feel before we get into any of the details of you know whatever. Just tell us how you're feeling right now. Just tell us how you feel.
Well, I'm feeling like my normal self now. This is from 2.5 weeks of just of just trying to fight this virus. It's something. It's something. It really is. So, but I'm doing fine. My wife is doing fine. We're back. We're kind of back to our normal selves. But I wouldn't wish that on nobody. You know.
One of the things that I do want to talk, maybe not right now, but what is the progression of from well, I guess we can talk about this now and then. Um, what was the beginning of the ordeal like for you? When did you guys first started to notice signs? And what was the progression like? Did you start feeling bad at once, or was it something that happened first and then it progressed to something else and then it just got full blown? What was the progression of the virus for you and your family?
Well, first of all, let me just say this: both me and my wife was never tested, right?
Okay,
But I've had the flu before, so I know what the flu feels like.
right.
This was it. It came suddenly. We had went out food shopping. We stocked up and everything. We were at that particular time we was feeling good. Then the next day, I think I started showing symptoms first.
Okay.
Um, feeling fatigued, very weak. I didn't have a fever, but had a crazy cough. Couldn't stop coughing. Um, and literally just was in the bed for like 2 weeks. I mean, honest, I had no taste, um like food tasted it like was it had no taste to me. This was nasty. I couldn't eat. So we just drank hot liquids, tea, coffee, soup. That's about the just I lost crazy weight.
Mhm.
And this it's it's it started off and then each day it just got progressively worse, and then you're hearing the stories on the news about people passing away from them. So I lost good people every day, single day since I was sick. And you think about your mortality, like is my end coming near? So
Before we talk about the psychological toll, you said something that's very important, and I know this from dealing with many individuals at work. Um, there's so many people that have all the symptoms. I've even had individuals who've gone to the hospital with shortness of breath, with fever, and they did not test them if they didn't reach a certain threshold. Um, and and what is really shocking is just this week, the city has upgraded the death toll because there have been so many people who were not tested, who never got a chance to get tested,
and they
and
died in the house. They died in the house.
they died in the house.
Yeah.
So it is very important. I have been saying to people for the last 2 or so weeks, because I got tested, I believe it was 2 weeks ago. One of the things that is important is when these centers pop up and these things come into the neighborhood, you got to go and get tested. And the reason why it is so important to get tested is, and what has made this virus so particularly insidious, is the fact that you cannot have any signs or symptoms at all and still be transmitting the virus to people that are in vulnerable states. So
exactly,
when you think about this thing, there have been many people who've had it and maybe they didn't get a formal diagnosis because hospitals were turning them away. I've even known people that went to the hospital. The doctors told them you probably have it, but because you don't reach a certain threshold, we're not going to test you. So it is something that our community must be aware of. You want to fight for testing. You want to get tested, because again, just because you are fine, that does not mean that you won't bring the virus back to your wife, your son, your daughter.
that's correct.
Right.
Well, you listen. In the beginning, when this first started, they were saying that even if you're feeling bad, just stay home and isolate yourself for 14 days. Right. They were really discouraging people from going to get tested.
Right.
Even first responders wasn't really getting tested the way that they was, they was outside doing this like every day. I'm a retired correctional officer, both me and my wife. And we would say, like, wow, imagine if we were at work and had to go to work with this, with this insidious disease. It's it was crazy. And I think that the government kind of undersold stuff. They didn't want to create a panic or whatever their reason was.
If you listen to the president, when early on in this situation, when there were those people that's on the ship, they were on the ship and they were trying to dock, he said, I don't want my numbers going up. So you are 100% right that the government was not forthcoming with certain information and did not make certain information available at the time. You go back to, and my heart cringes for all those people who went to the spring break. Now I know some of them were young and dumb, just to say it. And the people down at Mardi Gras. But when you talk to the public officials, they were saying, well, we didn't have the information to be able to make informed decisions. And just to go speak to your point, so many and I shudder to think, police officers and all type of first responders, they were out there working for 2-3 weeks into this without any kind of protection, without any kind of anything, because nothing was shared with us about how quickly this could spread and how easy it is to spread.
Listen, I want to go. Social distancing is so important. Listen, I don't want to get into my church leaders and the church, but when they say that we need to distance and be separate from ourselves for a while, that is for real, because like you said, you can walk around and be absolutely feeling like you're 100%, and you could be a major carrier.
Right.
And so you're spreading this around, and you could be going to church, you could be going food shopping, you could be going, anyway. That's why the things that they put in place, we really got to adhere to it. I'm watching the Hasidic Jews, big gatherings that they have, and I'm like, come on, that's not, nobody's picking on you. It just makes sense for us not to be close to each other like this. So I'm we have to listen and be wise. I listen when God sent that last plague to the Egyptians, right? He gave Moses them specific instructions what to do.
Right.
It's it doesn't make you less Christian if you don't have service in the four walls. technology is phenomenal. So I just wanted just to throw that little.
No, all of it is good. We'll talk a little bit about the church, but the social aspect of this, it really hurts my heart because I see what the Jewish community is doing. And I'm sure there are those in the Jewish community that are urging them to do something different. But when I see our people out here, they had some people in Newark when the cops were trying to disperse the crowd. They were cursing, "This is our neighborhood. You can't tell us." And the reality is that it's now time that we heed good wisdom, because it could literally cost, if not you, your life, your child, someone else. And it's important that we don't, so many of us talk about how this happened. They talk about the conspiracies of this. And I don't know about any of that. All I know is that we need to do what we need to do to keep ourselves safe and to keep ourselves alive, because this virus does not discriminate. And with all the information that's coming out now, how the droplets can stay in the air and all this, listen, we gotta really be wise and practical, brother Phil. So how long into your illness did it take for you to start to feel better?
Oh, it was. I started maybe about 13 or 14 days. We started getting some relief, starting to feel.
Wow.
Both being the white now, just starting to feel a little better. I can eat a little something now. We can, we're up and about a little bit more. We didn't. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it. This is live TV, man.
We had we just started going out because we had food now, so we wasn't eating, but we just went back out just to do food shopping. And when I go out, trust me, I have my mask on and I have my rubber gloves. I'm not putting this thing, and so it like I said, like about between the 10 and 14 day mark, we started getting to ourselves, and like now it's I'm feeling much better, back to my regular self. Okay. But like there's things that we don't even know. They can't even tell us that you can get it again. They're not sure.
Right. So, there have been some things that came out from South Korea where they shown that people who, and this is a really important point, because as the government urges people to go back, it is going to be a tragedy, because South Korea has reported that people who were believed to have cleared the virus, that they are infected. And then there's this concept of shedding, that even after you have passed a certain point, that you can still shed it to others. So it is important that we don't let up just because we see the news and they say this is opening up and that's opening up. This thing is still out there. It is still out there, and you don't know where it is. You don't see it. You can't smell it. There's no indication. So it behooves all of us, invest in some gloves, invest in masks. If you goggles, get some goggles. I did post some information. You got to get that. You got to get that stuff. You got to get that.
Listen, I don't know if you when this first started, it was a rumor out. They said that it didn't affect black people.
Right.
That it was, and people rolling with that. It's like, yo, listen, who's been most affected by death with this? It's been people of color. So so we can't go. Like when I hear them say that let's open up and let's start the economy, I say, wow. I said money is more important than human life.
That's America for you.
That's America. That's it. Yeah. Yes.
America for you. But
Yeah.
just to touch on that, why do you think that it has? I know I have my ideas and my theories about why it has affected the African American community and Latino community so much. But what is your perspective on that? One of the things you got to know about Brother Phil, he is not just here because he is a Bible, but he is a thinking, intelligent man, and he knows a lot about a lot of stuff. So we can talk on different levels. So why do you think it has affected
Well,
us?
listen, in the well, most of us live in the lower income neighborhoods, high rise buildings, nicer, the New York City housing. We're in close proximity to one another. Because in Far Rockaway, Queens, they've been dropping like flies. In here in East New York, Brownsville, Coney, where there's high rise buildings and there's people, a lot of people living next. It's in low and living in low income neighborhoods.
So because we couldn't socially distance as effective as other communities.
Exactly.
You're saying that because if you're in a 10 story building and there's eight apartments on each floor, you used to go up and down those elevators, up in and out,
the steps,
touch those buttons and open those doors.
Exactly.
And the virus is living on surfaces, especially metal, for as long as 72. So the distance. Or the compact nature of where we live has affected us. Are there any other factors that you think contributed?
Just not having the healthcare in place where where you can where we can. Because a lot of us have pre-existing illnesses,
right?
Diabetes, hypertension, heart disease. I mean, so you dealing with that, and then with this insidious disease, it just I've had like I said, I've had friends, literally close people that I know, I play ball with. I mean, like. Every single day, I hate looking at my social media because somebody else is passing away. It's so it's something that we have to really take serious. That's why listen. If they said we're opening up New York City tomorrow, Phil is staying in the house. I will be practicing social distancing until till we get a handle on this thing. And they have to ramp up the testing. I cannot believe that we cannot test. If anybody that wants to get tested, that they can't get tested. This is just it's irresponsible of government. I'm sorry. Definitely. You got to do more than just give $1,200 checks to people and say, okay, you happy now? We just gave you $1,200.
Listen,
more.
That's what powerful people do to people who don't know any better.
Exactly.
They can dangle some change in front of them, and that makes everything right. It's a pimp whore mentality.
Yes.
And that's what it is. One of the things that I know, Brother Phil, we're going to do, because Sunday I couldn't even preach about resurrection. My heart was so heavy, and I talked about one of the things that we need to do moving forward when we get some respite from this is we need to make sure that we're setting up systems to help our people get healthy. It is and I can say that I'm guilty because some of those same pre-existing conditions I deal with. And I think about how I'll pass up something healthy for something that's quick and expedient. Right. It's nowhere in the world you're going to tell me, and as I've been processing it, you're not going to tell me that McDonald's and Burger King is going to give you 18 pieces of food for $5, and that's going to be healthy for you. And even if you look in when other ethnicities came into our neighborhoods, because our neighborhoods are being gentrified,
Right.
the first things that they do, they put up some kind of whole food market or some kind of healthy food market. They're buying their vegetables and their fruit and all that. They put those where they are going to live, because they understand that one of the quickest ways to fall into bad health is by what we eat. So, as a church, I've already talked to, one of the nurses that's in the church, and I'm going to be trying to build partnerships. We got to find ways to get people away from some of these situations that are reversible with diet and exercise, or diet and healthy lifestyles. Patrice, I see you just popped up. I was trying to reach you, but I'm going to get you out here one night. But all these pre-existing conditions can be reversed. One of the things that and we're going to get back on top. One of the things that my doctor told me, Brother Phil, was you got to see your food as your medicine, as your pills. Yeah, I can give you something that'll help you with some high blood pressure, but if you saw the things that you put in your body, that you intake as the things, as your medicine, as your pills, you wouldn't have to need me to prescribe you something.
Exactly. That's it. Yes.
This is what we need to help our communities understand. And when this is over, we need to go knocking on all of these politicians' door, because when they want to vote, they want to come to us. But we need to bang on their doors and demand that they put things in the neighborhood that actually helps us, helps us to heal. Because as you see with this pandemic, the underlying conditions has caused even young people to be killed, because more and more these conditions are popping up in younger generations.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And you said something that's paramount, and it does something to my soul when I hear. That's right. Especially people of color, when they say, "Oh, my vote don't matter. I don't vote. I don't." I said, "Do you know that our ancestors bled and died for you to have that right?" And we have to demand from these elected officials, listen, if you're not going to do the job, then we're going to put somebody else in there that's going to do the job, and we have to force that to them. And another thing, that is a great idea. As a matter of fact, I would like to have you come on our Walk in Victory show so that you can expound on that.
Whenever, I'm here.
And just because that is a really great idea. We never think about that. Because I remember I'm taking these pills now, right? High blood pressure, cholesterol, and my doctor said, listen, if you lose weight,
right,
and you exercise and you do the things you're supposed to do, you only have to take these things,
right?
So that's something that's under our control,
right?
When you like to eat the fried chicken and the McDonald's hamburgers, that's
because we would rather have what is quick. One of the things that's a problem is, because in our community we're working, we're going to school, we're doing all these things, it's easier to grab something quick to feed the kids than now that's another thing that I have to do on top of the 50 other things. I remember when I was growing up, I grew up in Cypress Project, right on Pond Street, there was a vegetable place. Chinese, they had the little vegetables and stuff out front. You drive through our communities now, you don't see fresh stuff. You may go to a supermarket, you see a little bit of stuff, but it's not like when you get out of the I don't want to say the hood, because I don't want nobody to think I'm coming down on it. But when you go out and you see different things in different places, you understand how different things work in one place versus the next place.
But listen, Well, listen, you look at the in Manhattan, those affluent places, and
Right,
see what kind of eateries, and see what kind of other markets that are in the area. Even the food is just better
right,
quality. But
right,
the quality that we get in our neighborhoods, we got to be real. Listen, man,
right,
you would not listen. They don't sell that in affluent
right,
neighborhoods.
right.
So
You don't see a Chinese restaurant on every corner
no, you do not.
in places where the median income is over a certain thing. But
Exactly.
they'll pack it into us, and it's killing us. It is
Yes,
killing us.
yes. We'll go get those chicken wings and shrimp fried rice
Right,
like crazy.
right.
You know,
And we all have to be mindful. I notice, Brother Phil, when I'm doing my smoothies and my juices with my beets and all that stuff in it,
right?
all of my numbers are better. And then
Yeah.
I kick myself because I say I got these 15 things I need to do, and I want everybody to hear this, and I want you to take this to heart. Don't let your life be so busy that you cannot do the things you need to do to maintain your life. And
Right.
so often we I got this to do, I got that to do, I got that to do, and we're rushing to the next thing, and we don't take time to take care of ourselves. 5 minutes of preparing something decent, or putting something in a blender, or juicing something can be the things that will help you get the nutrients that you need. And
Absolutely.
we have to become better stewards of our bodies and our health, because
Yeah.
what you see that this virus has exposed us in
Yes.
our community.
It really has, and it's really devastating our community, and if we don't care about ourselves, because listen, since we was brought over here 400 years ago in chains, they really don't care about us.
Right,
So we have to care about ourselves. We got to
right.
love. We got to love ourselves. You know.
I would like to see the Black Lives Matter slogan applied to this
Yes.
also,
Yes.
because
Yes. 100%.
listen, this is not being shot down in the street,
Right.
it's not being harassed. But if you want to talk about Black lives being really meaningful, we got to look at all of the systems that would serve to destroy Black lives.
Yes.
And nutrition and access to good health care, access to doctors who care
Who
is
care?
meaningful. It is meaningful. It is life. It is survival. And so I don't want to. I don't want nobody to think that I'm taking the police stuff lightly when I say, if you're gonna say Black Lives Matters, then we must demand for Black lives to matter in all environments. One of
Yes.
the things,
So
Brother Phil, that hurt me, because I know about the pre-existing conditions, I know about the tight spaces, but one of the things I've seen through this pandemic is that we just don't listen. We want to run out there, and
yeah.
we want to hang out. I was over at the church the day before yesterday. I had to go and do something, and I still see people right there on that corner, at those stores, and hanging
Yeah.
out there. They talking. They don't got no mask on. They don't got nothing. We got to know how to listen and heed good warning. The same way you said that the churches need to listen, and the people in the churches need to listen. We as a people need to understand that we got to listen.
We got to listen. Yes. I
We,
agree with that
we got to
100%.
listen.
Yes. I we it's my my son lives in Rochester, New York, and when he found out that me and his mother was sick, he was like, "Well, I'm coming down so I can take care of you." I said, "No, you're not, so that you can get infected." I said, "No, you stay right up there where you at." I said, "If it gets too serious, then Daddy will call an ambulance and me and your mother go to the doctor." I said, "But no, and you have to look at it just like that. Like, I might be infected, and I don't want to infect nobody else.
Right.
You know, and that's how we just have to look at the situation, because it's serious out here. People
Right.
are done. They're putting people bodies in freezers, not because the mall can't hold them.
I drove by Jamaica Hospital the day before yesterday, and they got the street that the emergency room is on.
Yes,
it's a little back street. They blocked it off. You can't drive down that street, and there's two large trucks out there, the refrigerated trucks.
Refrigerated trucks, and just putting bodies up in there.
Right. I stayed away from my family until after I got tested to make sure that you don't want to, because your heart would absolutely bleed if you transmitted something to somebody
else.
Exactly. And that was the reason why, as early as possible, we tried to shut down, because we can't say that we love people and then hurting them in the church. That's ego. And
I see people giving communion. I was like, come on now, really?
Listen, people still having church. People still having full-blown services. There was one pastor who was up there saying that God is bigger than Corona, and he's still having services. Now listen, God is bigger than Corona. God is bigger than everything. But you still got to understand that there is seed time and harvest. While the earth remains, there is a cycle. There is a process that you are not going to undo.
Right. Exactly.
And he died, and his family was sick. They were interviewing his daughter, and she had the COVID. So it is definitely something that we have to be mindful of, because we don't want to kill off our loved ones.
Exactly.
Is just like that. So, brother, you are on the road to recovery.
Yes.
And you have recovered, and your wife is as well. I'm so happy when Pastor Tillman told me that you were not feeling well. I had to call you because you mean so much to me. I love you.
Well, listen, I love both of you. Listen, and I'm telling. Listen, and for me and Pastor Tillman, listen, I'm used to seeing him like every day. We haven't seen each other in over a month, and we're doing our shows, Walk in Victory, that I produce. We're doing our shows remotely. He's at his house, and I'm at my house, practicing social distancing, but still doing our show. So if y'all check out Walk in Victory too. Y'all just Walk in Victory Sunday service and Walk in Victory the show. We're gonna have Pastor Jordan on one of our episodes. So, but I just appreciate the prayers. True worship is that's like my other family. When I come there, I'm not a visitor. I'm a down low.
True worshiper.
True worshiper. I love you guys, man. And I listen, and Pastor Joy, you know how I feel about you. So that's hey, listen, man. My brother, my pastor, I just love you and appreciate you. And my wife told me to tell you she loved you. You see, tell me to tell you hi.
Tell her I said hello. I miss her, I love her too. Phil, just if you can type that Walk in Victory information into our chat, then Bucky can put it up so that we can hear and support, because we need information, and those that are willing to give information, we need to make sure that we get it. Like I said, the times that I come on Friday, I want to talk to people who know something. I don't just want it to be the Lord said or the scripture said. Yes, that's important, but it's important that we know. Brother Phil, just put Sunday. Just put the time up there that you guys do. That know something. I want to bring Latrice on because she has information. Doctors, I'm looking to outreach to mental health experts. And before you go, Brother Phil, I just want to talk to you and get how is your mind throughout this process? Because I've heard some people talk about they had hallucinations. There were people who talked about just all kind of things. I just want to what toll did the virus take on your mind and your thought processes?
Well, just well, I'm gonna tell you, it's a thank God I had my, you know, me and my wife, we was going through it together, and just mentally, it was tough because you start to you start to think like, is this going to be the end of the road? You know,
Right.
but you know, as far as that, like I didn't have like no high fevers. I wasn't hallucinating, nothing like that. It was tough because you just could not do anything. Like you had no energy to barely just to go to the restroom, you know, just I mean literally we were literally in the bed for like 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
literally. So, you know, but you know, as things started to turn, it was like, yeah, I'm feeling a little better today. I'm feeling a little bit better today. I'm getting a little bit better. And so it was when I finally turned, I was like, wow, man, this is whew. I said, only but the grace of God, you know, and but it was tough. It was rough. It was a tough sledding. It's that's not an easy road. And I don't think I had I just had just a little acute case of it. I could just imagine the people that were on respirators and that's having problems breathing because it attacks you know, your lungs, and it's in the membranes. It just gets, you
Right.
know,
Respiratory disease.
respiratory, man. So it's, I mean, just not the feel like you can't breathe. I didn't have that, but it was just it's something, man. I'm telling you, it's, you know, woof. So thank God you know, we came through that part, and pretty much you know, we're up and about, and so, you know, only by the grace of God.
I praise God for that. I know I talked to Pastor Tillman, and I know he lost, and I know you guys collectively have lost
Yeah,
friends and family.
it's
Um, it's a great tragedy, because once this is over, and I need I want to rephrase that. Once we get a break, because I do think that this is going to be some semblance of life for the next 2 or 3 years or so, because these doctors are not saying all that they know, and
it's
it's
correct.
a lot more things to come out, and it's just more to this, and so we're going to have to learn new ways, new habits, new levels of discipline, in order to deal with this. But one of the things that my heart is set to, that when we come out of this, it can't be church as usual. People think they're gonna come run back in the church and it's just gonna be the same. We're gonna pick up where we left off. No, we're gonna have to spend months, if not a year or so, just helping the people grieve and
Yes,
with
yes,
the reality of
yes.
people that they never got a chance to say goodbye to properly.
That's right. That's right.
And one of the things that the church needs to understand is that it's gonna be a while before we can breathe again
Yes.
with any confidence. Not that we don't trust God, but still, as natural people, there is always a process that we need for grief and healing. And people must not skip that fact, because if you don't, it can have psychological damage on you
Yes. Yes.
much longer than you realize.
Oh, yes.
So whenever we can be of assistance to one church, and definitely walk in victory, let me know. we are here.
Appreciate you guys.
Glad. I'm glad that you and your wife survived. I'm glad to know that even in the midst of horrible stories, for every story that we can pull out and say, here, look, see, God is a healer. Because I don't care what anybody, whoever you want to give the credit to, you can give whoever credit you want to. But as believers, we give the credit to God.
To Almighty God, that's
and
right.
I praise God for your survival and your continuance, you and your wife, and I thank God that you consented to come on, and just so that the people can see that there are survivors.
Oh,
and
yeah, that's just.
From somebody who lived it.
Yes.
He didn't say stay your in the house, but he said stay your in the house.
In the house.
You don't got to be out here doing things and you stay in the house.
Listen, you know what? This is the perfect time for you to connect with family. This, listen, I know people that they've been using Zoom or whatever. They've been having game nights or whatever. Talk to your kids. It's connect with the wife and the husband. I mean, relationships can be rebuilt during this time. I mean, listen, but stay in the house. Listen, please stay in the house. Lord have mercy, stay. I don't care if they tell you tomorrow. Listen, we opened everything up. Listen, I'm not going nowhere if it ain't to the store. And listen, and let me tell you something. This is how I'm just anal attentive. I got the gloves on. I got alcohol pads. When I go to the bank, to use the machine, I wipe the machine down before I start touching them. When you get on the elevator, wipe it down.
Me too.
Wash your hands. This is wash your hands. Listen. This thing is serious. I was telling Pastor Tillman, I don't even know if I'm gonna be eating out for the next couple of years. I don't even know. Mm-hmm. I'm just that I'm scared of this thing. I've seen its effects. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
I do want to say, Brother Phil, if you need to jump off, I don't want to overexert you.
No, I'm good. No.
I just want there's a few things that I wanted to be sure to talk about tonight. Listen, unfortunately, I do have to be out for certain things. I got to go make sure that my family has food, and so that's primarily when I go out. I got to go to the supermarkets every now and again. I got to run out and do something for work, because where I am. I'm kind of a distributor of some of our protective equipment. And then there are times I got to go out and do things for church. So I am out. So I'm all extra cautious during all those things.
Got the mask on and everything, though, right? You got you got the mask on when you're going, though, right?
I got my mask.
Okay,
I
got
my gloves. I got my hand sanitizer.
Here you go.
I carry Clorox wipes when I got to touch something.
There you go. That's it.
And I got spray.
That's it. Listen, we got to be careful out there.
One of the things that is concerning me, and I want everybody to pay attention to, you got to keep a watch on your food and your supplies, because it is growing more difficult to go to stores. I had to do some restocking today, and I had to wait on a line for maybe 20 or 30 minutes. And then they're limiting the amounts of things that you can buy.
You can buy, that's it. That is true.
Don't be, and I always use this example because it's one of my favorite cartoons. Don't be like Woody Woodpecker. Woody Woodpecker used to sleep all through the times that he should have been gathering nuts and storing nuts, and then when he wakes up, now he's going into all other birds and all other people's stash. Right. Because he done used up all his. You gotta stay supplied. Don't let your stuff run down. If you need medications, reach out to some of these pharmacies. They're doing deliveries, but don't get caught thinking that this is a normal time and that you can just go run down and get something. No. And what makes it more dangerous is as those lines get longer, you lengthen your exposure time to being out in the community. Times where, you know, when it first started, you can run right in and run right out, or you can go earlier or go late.
Right.
But now there are people that's on the line. And you have to treat everybody as if they have it.
That's right. If they're affected, that's right. You have to.
And you can't be shy about telling people, hey, give me my space.
Space, exactly.
Because people are not always cognizant of things. And this is a new world. So make sure you stay stocked up. Make sure that you understand that this is not a normal time, and that these things out there are all changing. Keep some gas in your car. You just gotta be prepared. You gotta be prepared.
That's right.
Be prepared. Because the worst thing in the world is to reach for something and you don't have it, and then you can't get it. So
exactly,
got to be mindful of that. Save your money.
That's another thing.
You got to save your money.
Yes.
Money is necessary. So now you got to know how, and I'm gonna bring on good friend Dr. Stokely. He's the money person. You got to know how to tell some of your creditors, I'm gonna get you on the back end.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm gonna get you on the back end. You renting a car or something, and listen, I know this from times when I was financing a car or something, and I maybe got behind in my payments. Y'all don't judge me. Don't judge me. And I call them up and I say, hey, listen, I need to put these 2 payments on the back end of the deal. You need to be good stewards of your money at this particular point.
Yes.
You don't know how long this is going to go down. So you got to create your little slush fund. Every money you get, you got to put something in the can. If you don't have that habit, I have that habit anyway. If you don't have that habit, you better form that habit. When you get something, you got to have a can.
Because you never know when. We don't know how things are going to turn out, and you might have to skedaddle. You might have to, This thing is real. I tell people all the time, man. I said I never thought in my lifetime I would have seen something like this, but hey, that's just the way of the world now.
Definitely, the world has changed.
The world has changed. Yeah.
The last thing I want to talk, if you want to just hang out with me for a little while longer, Brother Phil, is the importance of guarding your mindset. Now, I know myself to be an emotionally and mentally strong person.
Right.
But even still, this thing is so hideous and insidious that if you're not careful, the depression that is over the environment at this time will weigh you down to the point where you think, oh my goodness, everybody is going to die. I'm going to die. Everybody's going to die. You got to be careful what you're putting into your spirit and how you're feeding yourself information. Because if you're not careful, this thing will grab a hold of you and you go down and you'll get sick. Even if it's not from the corona, your system will be so stressed that you can get sick.
Well, Pastor Jordan, I'm gonna say this. That's what you gotta look at the news because you gotta know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't inundate yourself with because they throw these numbers out there and you start saying, "Oh my gosh, 700 died this day, and then 799 died the day before," and then so it starts to weigh on you, and but they won't tell you about the number of people that recovered from this,
right?
But they'll inundate you with the numbers that are like, 500,000 are affected in the United States, and this is how many died, and this is how many died yesterday. And it gets and especially if you have people that are close to you or people that you know, that passed away in that you, and so you're just like, yo, am I next? Is death coming to, so don't have yourself inundated with all of the news from the media, because they're not telling everything,
Right. Right. So, Brother Phil, tonight
Yes.
I'm gonna say thank you. I'm gonna let you run. Tell your wife I love her. I hope
Yes, I
you
will.
guys soon.
Soon, yes, yeah.
And I don't know what you're gonna do. I don't know what you're gonna do with that. I had to cut mine.
Oh no, listen, this is
Make sure my mask fit right and
this is
everything.
going this week, man. This is going this week. I can't take it no more. I can't.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody told me I look like my father now, so I got.
No,
Well,
all right.
listen, but God bless, man. I appreciate you having me on. True worship. I love you guys, man. I'm gonna see you soon, hopefully, prayerfully.
We love you too.
God willing. Okay. Bye-bye.
We love you too.
Bye.
All right. So that was Brother Phil. He is a good friend of mine and the church, and I just wanted you to hear from him, um, to let you know that there are survivors. There are survivors, and we need to hear the survivors' story, because faith comes by hearing. And when you know people that survived, it gives you some strength. I'm going to work, and I know she's on next week, to try to bring Latrice on, because she's on the front lines, and not only is she seeing things firsthand about treatments and different things like that, but she is also a nurse, and she knows things that we all need to hear um, about. So I'm going to work to bring her on. I want to bring on some mental health people, some financial people, and when I come on Fridays, I want it to be a time of information, a time that, and I've been kind of using this slogan, um, building faith through information and testimonies. Because with all the stuff that is going on out there, we got to feed ourselves the right information, and we got to feed ourselves healthy things. I can't take responsibility for what other churches are doing and what other pastors are doing, but I want you to know, true worshipers, that I'm out here working on your behalf to keep you informed, keep you encouraged, keep you uplifted, because this day has not taken, and I want you to hear this time in your life has not taken your destiny by surprise. The destiny that God has assigned for you and to you has already taken this time into account. So now what he needs you to do is to be wise throughout this process. Before I say this, just one other thing. Um, when you bring your groceries and you bring your stuff in the house, make sure you spray it down and make sure you wipe it up, because you, even though you're clean and everything, you don't want to bring nothing in the house. I meant to say that when I was talking to Brother Phil, because I'm just so extra cautious about those things. But this day and this time has not taken your destiny or your God by surprise. You need to mind the practical distances and all the things that is designed to keep you safe during this time. But understand this: life, and every day you get up, it's going on, and it is another opportunity to work on your goals, your dreams, your desires. Even in the midst of this, there is still a lot of life to be lived. Even in the midst of this, there is still a business that you can develop. And as Brother Phil said, there are still relationships that you can mend. Now, I know some people don't like talking to people, but now is the time that you need to put right some things with people and talk, because You cannot throw in the towel and just conform to a negative perspective of life. It's still the day that the Lord has made, even in the midst of this social distancing and with all the things that are going on. You are still given, if you're listening to me, you have still been given the privilege of life. And so now, while you protect the things that you can, still know that God has not abandoned your destiny, your future, your purpose. So I wanted to come on tonight and talk to Brother Phil so that you can hear survivors. I'll be looking for more survivors. I'll be looking for more people that can just talk to us during this time, because I believe that if we are fed the right things and we mine practical wisdom, that I believe that we can make it through this. And as I said earlier, in this crisis, make sure you come out of this with something. Don't come out of this empty-handed. Don't take all of this pressure and stress and don't come out. You better come out with a better prayer life, with more faith. You better come out with ideas. You better come out with something, because this is something. And so somebody, and I keep having people say, "Well, Pastor, you got to make sure that even after this is done, stay on live, keep on." And so often I was like, I don't want to do no lives. I don't, because I see so many. Listen, I know I've come out of this, if with nothing else, um, a renewed vigor to minister to people, to help people get over their humps and all those things. And this is a great medium to be able to do that. I cannot wait to put some things in place and get back in church, because I really want to make sure that we can build again that healthy idea of life, because there are so many people that have so many gifts and talents in them that will minister to the local church and the body of Christ. And you don't have to have 8,000 people to be a powerful, impactful, healthy, good ministry. And I know that is the case. So more than ever, my heart is renewed to work and push. I'm working harder now than I ever worked, because I want to make sure that we are doing things through this medium until we can do them through the next one that blesses the people. I hope you are blessed by these things. One of the sad things that I am seeing, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this. There are people who now, even in their homes, they won't tune into the lives, and they won't. And but they have time for a whole bunch of other foolishness on social media. And there are people who this crisis has exposed the connection that people have with God. I'm telling you, it has, because even now, where church is brought into your screen, or the communication, the singing is brought right to your screen, there's still people who don't tune in and don't watch. There is there is a day, and this is the day that's coming, that you're gonna need that faith. And there's a lot of people out there that don't have it. And now is the time that we need to be fortifying ourselves. So, when you talk to people and they calling you up, and especially to the true worshipers, ask them, are they attending prayer? Are they, I guess I'm pastor now. You didn't come to prayer physically, But now when the prayer is going on, that you have an opportunity to join in prayer. Elder Cassie is praying our heart out on Tuesdays. For some of y'all same people that should be in prayer, you won't participate in the prayer. How do you participate? You come, you listen, you chime in, you say amen, you do something so that we can stay connected and we can stay together. So I want to say I love you. I want to say that I appreciate you. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I thank you for all that you've been doing, all of your giving, true worshipers. Um, I just cannot tell you how appreciative I am, um, not only to be the pastor, but to be the pastor at this time, because um, it is encouraging to know that in the midst of this, there is still a people that love God and are faithful to God, and committed to one another, and committed to the church. So I love you. I appreciate all of you. As always, I want you to stay safe, right? Because the greatest thing you can do for I had posted something some time ago, how to be connected or committed to your church around this time. And the first thing is to stay safe, because when each person passes that have passed, it tugs on us a little, each of the survivors a little bit more. So I need you to stay safe. I need you to keep your family safe. I need you to be diligent as you're out there. Wash your hands, do all those things. I need you to survive. So I'm going to see you on Sunday. If the Lord will, if He spares my life until Sunday, I'm going to be um, doing something on Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to be teaching or preaching, but I'm going to be in the house of the Lord on Sunday. So I hope that you would tune in with me. 10 o'clock is prayer on Sundays. And then, um, depending on if there's a worship leader available, um, then we'll have a worship leader on. And then I'll be coming with the word. As I have asked those of you on 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 the Tuesdays and the Fridays, if you can partner with me by sowing a seed. Again, I do understand that it is a difficult time for everyone, and if you cannot do something, you don't have to feel bad. I teach it like this: if you can't do one way, you can do another way, but you never have to feel bad. So that's not it. We ask you to sow because we need to make sure that, again, we can continue. Um, so if you can sow a seed, I love you. I appreciate you.